Analysis: a closer look at Jazz's late-game execution and final play and stunning win over the Warriors. The Utah Jazz defeated the Golden State Warriors 124-123 on Wednesday night in an absolutely frantic and chaotic conclusion. With 13.3 seconds remaining, the Warriors led by 4 points. After a timeout, Nickeil Alexander-Walker drove to the hoop, missed a wide-open layup and passed the ball to Malik Beasley, who scored a three-pointer to trim the Warriors' advantage to 1 point with 7.8 seconds remaining. Utah beat Golden State 124-123 on Wednesday night with an absolute whirlwind and wild finish to the game. After a Warriors timeout, the Jazz came up with a steal thanks to the crafty hands of Alexander-Walker and the determination of Beasley and Kelly Olynyk, and they pushed the ball up to Italian rookie Simone Fontecchio for a game-winning dunk with 1.4 seconds left. The Jazz stormed the floor, celebrated, embraced Fontecchio, and walked away exuberant. Not only had they won the game, but they'd done so while Mike Conley, left knee, and Lauri Markkanen, illness, were sidelined. Colin Sexton had left the game with a hamstring injury, and Jordan Clarkson had been ejected with less than a minute left. Now that the dust has settled and the confetti has been cleared from the court, I think it's a good idea to look at two things: the Jazz's emphasis on late-game execution and what really happened on the final play. Late-game execution. At least twice already during this young NBA season, the Jazz have failed to execute correctly on the final possession of a close game, first against the Phoenix Suns on November 26th and then in similar fashion again Saturday against the Portland Trail Blazers. Through the 27 games the Jazz have played this season, 19 have been decided by fewer than 10 points and 15 have been decided by 7 points or less. The Jazz have clearly been in a lot of close games. In those decided by 7 points or less, the Jazz are 8-7. In games decided by 7 points or less when the Jazz are playing without Conley, they are 2-4. The Jazz have been working tirelessly on late-game situations at practices and shoot-arounds. Head coach Will Hardy has them running end-of-clock and final possession drills as much as he can fit it into their schedule. The break the Jazz had at home between Saturday's game against the Blazers and Wednesday's game against the Warriors provided Hardy with a unique opportunity to drive home what he wanted to see at the end of a game. Not only do the Jazz just need to be prepared for these situations, because they seem to be destined to be in many more of them, but they also need to have multiple people that they can rely on to make decisions.
I think Curry was talking to him.
Obviously, Conley knows what he is doing and the Jazz can trust him. But it's going to take a lot of reps to get some of the other players, who have not had to close out games in their career, up to speed. All of this amounts to a lot of learning that is going to be done incrementally and can't be expected to be perfect just 27 games into the season. So then the Jazz were presented with a really tough situation Wednesday when they had to close a tight game with their best game manager, Markkanen, their best player, Clarkson, their bucket getter, and Sexton, who has been the backup point guard in training. Amazingly, the Jazz came away the win. So at least that's progress. Final play of the game. I'm very happy for Fontecchio, who had a career-high 18 points, including his dunk that iced the game. I'm glad for Alexander-Walker, who made probably the most important assist of the game and then the biggest defensive play when he stripped the ball away from Jordan Poole on the last play. But, on rewatching the end, the Jazz probably shouldn't have won this one. I think that it's pretty hilarious that the Utah Jazz tweeted out the play in slow motion, saying, "Look at this," because when you really look at it there are at least two glaring issues. First, after Poole loses the ball, it goes off Olynyk's foot, which should have been called for a kick ball resulting in the ball going side out of bounds for the Warriors. Then, Olynyk definitely fouls Poole. Now, there is going to be an argument that can be made by both sides likely when the last 2-minute report comes out tomorrow. I think that there were many other missed calls in the last 2 minutes, but if we're just looking at that last possession, it probably shouldn't have ended the way it did.